Today is May 24th, 2023. This meeting is for our realtors just to bring you guys up to date with the market, see how the interest rates are performing. They are not in our favor right now, so we'll talk about that. We'll talk about what's in the news and some other things that will help you guys. So if you're watching this later on, if you have any comments on the video, just send me a message and we can talk about it. All right, guys, let's talk about interest rates first. As of last week, the interest rates, according to Freddie Mac, was around 6.39, but that is not the case right now. As of this morning, the interest rate went above 7%. This was not expected. We're not expecting the interest rates to go close to 7 or even higher right now, but this is what it is right now. So we have to tell you guys what's the reality. So it's going to have some effects to it. Will it stay here forever? No. Will it go up or if it will go down? We will be monitoring that on weekly basis with these meetings. But right now they are on above 7%. Okay. If they this is when we say 7%, this is for usually for a single family with a good FICO score about 740 or above, for conforming conventional loans. If you're getting a FHA, you might get a little bit lower. If your credit score is not that good, then you might get a little bit worse. Average is right now at, okay, I think it's the internet connection for me, guys. Uh, it was reconnecting, so I'm gonna pause for a second. Can you go see this one? Can you guys hear me? Should be good now, right? Okay, it's good now. Okay, sorry about that, guys. So the bottom line is that the interest rates are above 7% for the first time in a couple of weeks. They were trending down. Now they're back up above 7. It'll have some effects, which we'll talk about just in a few minutes. But in the news right now, right, according to Mortgage News Daily, the mortgage applications decreased last week just because of the interest rates are increasing. So, for your knowledge, right, for as realtors, you guys can keep showing the properties. You guys can submit your offers. Even your client can go under contract, but the loan officer for that file probably not going to lock in that rate. Right now is at 7%. It's not the best thing to do right now is to lock that interest rate. So probably the loan officer will monitor these interest rates, so when it goes down in maybe another week or so, then lock their interest rate. So this is not the best time to lock. So one of the reasons that the applications are down is because the borrower will be a little bit scared or hesitate to put in their offer and say, hey, the interest rates are too high. I just want to wait it out. So you as realtor, you guys can educate them and say, hey, I know the interest rates are high, meaning there's less people doing exactly what you're trying to do. So why not be part of that game, see the property, make a lower offer instead of putting in the highest offer, right? Because there's less buyers out there when it's higher interest rate. Okay, another, just like how we mentioned, mortgage rates move above 7%, and this was according to Mortgage News Daily. Another thing in the news was that the home sales were better than expected in April, right? Sales rose 4.1 and the annual rate of $683,000 compared to March's for 656. And this was a surprise because most analysts were expecting this numbers to be declined, right, for April, and they were not. Probably the way the interest rates are now in May, when we see the reports for May, we probably see a decrease, but only time will tell. Okay. Another article by Housing Wire was that is the spring housing market about to rebound? Only time will tell if the interest rates come down a little bit. We know that the spring is the best time to purchase. So as realtors, we want to be in the game in springtime for sure. Do your advertisement and everything like that. But again, when your interest rates are so high, just make your solid offers. not above asking, not going too crazy when we know there's less buyers. And that will help us rebound the housing market. So some of you guys, even your clients will ask you, is this a seller's market or is this a buyer's market, right? As of right now, even that the interest rates are so high because of the low inventory, is still a seller's market because the seller is able to sell the property on their terms, right? They're looking for X amount of money. They're getting very close to that. Your buyers don't have a lot of options when they want to put in the offers. So if they're looking for a single family, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, there's not going to be a lot of options in that particular area they want to be in. So it's still a seller's market, but some sellers are worrying, right? Because the worry right here is just like is is this piece right here. The housing market remains stuck in dilemma, right? It's a good time to sell because demand is high and the supply is low, but the potential sellers don't want to swap their low interest rate mortgages for higher rates. So that's why nobody wants to sell their old house and move into a new one where the interest rate is going to be above 7%, where they're sitting on a mortgage below 4%, right? So it's a tough decision to make. Anyhow, if they do want to upgrade, they have other options to take out equity, and their loan officer can advise on that. They can take out home equity loan, take out money from their equity, and put it in a down payment, and still not sell that property. So some of the refinances that we're doing right now, or cash out refinances, is through that. Okay, even the new homes, right? This is a major news too. For new home that's available for sales are below $70,000, right? That's a very low number when it comes to new construction. We need a lot more of that, and hopefully we will see that in the coming months. Okay, and the main reason for interest rates to keep going up is because of your inflation, but the inflation is calming down, and you guys can see the chart here, and this is a year over year, sorry, month to month basis, and you guys can see that this piece right here in May of 2022 last year, we were probably at the highest peak. Since then it has been coming down. The lower the inflation it goes, the better our interest rates will be for sure. Okay, and COVID inflation was the highest in 40 years. So hopefully we do not, as humans, go through any another pandemic where we see, everything crashing, markets crashing, and inflation was skyrocketed. And if you guys look at since 1970 until 2022, we guys can see that this was the COVID was the highest for 40-year term. So if this is the case, hopefully we don't see any pandemic and we don't go through that again. Since COVID hit, this was in 2020, we're still going through in 2023, 3 years later, still going through the effects for those. So when there's a pandemic, it has a lot of ripple effects for many, many years. Okay. And the rent growth and government data have not calmed down yet. So we know that for majority of our landlords that you guys are speaking to as realtors, that wants to rent out the place, they always want a little bit higher rent than the previous tenant they had. It could be $25 or it could be $200, really depending on the landlord themselves. But we know that the rents are not reducing for our market, especially in Queens right now. Okay. But if you're renting out as a realtor, you want to educate your buyers, right? Or even the renters. Yes, you're renting out right now, but you probably want to start saving some money so you guys can be a homeowner. With being a homeowner, you actually can build wealth, right? There's so many, if you are not building wealth, you're just living paycheck to paycheck and you just renting out the place. There's no actual wealth being built over the years. So you want to have something secure for your retirement, right? You want to have something, and buying a home, if you're going to live there for 5 years or more, is never a bad idea. If you're working as a temporary job and you're not too sure if you're going to stay in that area for too long or you're going to be switching jobs, then yes, being a renter is a good idea. Hey, I'm going to be there for a year, be there for 2 years, and then I'm out of here. I'm going to be in a different state. Then no problem. But if you have a good job and you're married, you have kids, and you feel like you're renting right now or 2 bedrooms, probably it's a good idea to purchase if you can qualify and buy a home and build your equity over the years. So look at this chart here. If you're renting out, your equity is not much. Even as of 2022, if you're a renter, your equity is less than $10,000. And compared to a homeowner now, as of 2022, they have an equity or at least a wealth gap of $320,000. Okay, huge difference here. So when people say, "Hey, renting is not, buying a home is not the best option," it really depends on your situation. The facts are, if you're going to be there for longer than 5 years, it's a good idea to purchase as long as you qualify. Okay, and this is the activity, the strong buying activity for starter homes and affordable regions, right? Most of the properties we know that they get multiple offers. At least 28% of them receive that, and 60% of the homes sold are within 1 month time, right? Just because of low inventory, we go through this on weekly basis. Medium days on market is 29 days, is the fastest if you exclude the COVID years, right? And price reductions bring buyers back. So now if you have price reduction, you're gonna have more buyers. As a listing agent now, some of you guys are trying to be a listing agent. That should be your goal. Every a realtor's goal should be that, hey, I want to be a listing agent. I want to work with the sellers that are willing to sell their house. And when you're talking to them, you can talk to them and tell them, hey, there's two strategies of placing a property on the market. You can put it on the lower end, which will get more eyeballs, more people out there, and we'll have a bidding war, or we'll put it on the higher end and have a negotiation room for those. But both ways work well, but you just got to talk to them and see how they approach. And for some demographics for housing demand here, there's population gain. Over a million people. There were more than 1 million people since to 2022, right? Deaths and the births you guys can see are very similar. 3.3 million people died and 3.7 people were born. You guys can see the marriages and the divorces. What I want to focus on is the last one here, turning 30. When you're turning 30, usually in your 30s, you have a good job, or you know where your career is going to be. You probably want to get married in a couple of years if you're not married yet, and you probably want to buy a house. This is your target should be as realtors now. That, hey, if I'm talking to someone that's turning 30s or around that age, and are they willing to find a property in the near future? If yes, keep a relationship with them, and build on that. Hopefully they will buy a house, and hopefully they will buy it with you, right? And there's over 4.4 million people turning over 30 this as of last year. Okay, for the mortgage rates, right, the interest rates itself. So we guys can see here that in 2019 that it was almost at 4%. COVID hit, and we saw in 2020 that it was around 3%, right? 2021 very similar, and then look at 2022. It went close to 5.5 or 5, right? And then in 2023 above 6, and what we're witnessing right now is even above 7, right? But the forecast is that for 2024 that it should come down. So as realtors, you guys should know what is the range that it will come down to, or may come down to next year, right? And that range should be between 4 and 6. As long as if it's close to 5% interest rates, that's what we as loan officers consider normal, right? When we saw this here in 2020, that was not normal, right? But when we see what we're seeing right now, too, above 7, that's not normal either, right? But in 2024, hopefully it does come down, and the range that we're looking at is between 4 and 5. Okay. And I saw this article and I thought it was pretty interesting that majority of the buyers, they lean on agents, not bank, for finance information, right? So they're just getting started and they're just having a conversation with you guys. So this is why I told you we have a mortgage calculator that we want you guys to utilize for yourself. Just be knowledgeable, but you don't have to guide your clients into full details because you're not a licensed loan officer. But you guys should have some sort of idea. Hey, what is consistent of a down payment? What is a closing cost? Stuff like that. So this way, hopefully, you guys are buying a house for yourself. You guys know these terms as well. But just know that your buyers will rely on you for that information, even if there's just a icebreaker, just a regular talk that they're having with you guys. So be knowledgeable about the mortgage terms, or at least have some sort of idea how mortgage process works or financing works. Okay, you are the professional, they're relying on your guidance. Okay, so now let's talk about your earnest deposit. Right, you guys are putting in an offer, your offer gets accepted, and it's $1 million property. $1 million property. Now, when your buyer is going to sign the contract, they're not just signing the contract, they're signing the contract and they're putting some money on the with the contract. It's called the earnest deposit. Every one of you guys know this. What you guys have some issues with going negotiating is your earnest deposit amount, right? Sometime a listing agent will call you. Yes, we'll accept your offer, but for your earnest deposit, we want 10%. That's for $1 million property. That's $100,000, right? That's too high. So let's talk about what is too low and too high for earnest deposit. Earnest deposit show how serious your buyer is for that property, right? How secure is that money, right? It really depends on the contract. What is written in there, one line can really jeopardize that person's earnest deposit money. Okay, so you guys have to make sure that you guys know what you guys talking about. If your buyer is about to sign a contract and says, hey, I only want to put down less than $10,000, you can tell them that is kind of low. Typically we see $10,000 or more, but if you want to put down $10,000 or less, let's want to put down $5,000 on the contract, maybe the seller's attorney will have an issue with that, the listing agent might have an issue with that. Let's say after 30 days and you want to back out of that transaction, you don't have a lot to lose because you only put down $5,000, right? So we want your clients to be serious about that property when you're putting in an offer, and tell them what is normal. What we consider normal is $10,000 to $20,000, right? That's what we consider normal, even if it's a single family or two family. If your client is very serious and the listing agent is very aggressive and telling you, hey, we want to put down, at least $30,000, $40,000, tell your buyer that it is high. I consider this high amount because it's above $25,000. You should talk to your attorney, make sure that you understand how you're going to get this money back if you were to back out after 30 days or whatever amount that you have, right? And on the other hand, if you're putting more than $50,000, that is considered very high, right? They should really consider speaking to their attorney again, making sure that they know everything inside and out about that contract, because they're putting a lot of money down on the contract. The last thing that you want is that your client losing any percentage of this money, right? You're showing them the property, they're going under contract. 30 days later, 45 days later, if the buyer says, hey, I don't want to move forward with this transaction, I want my money back, the attorneys have to handle that. You should not be negotiating any of this. The attorneys, you can tell your attorney whatever you want to, but the attorney is the one that's communicating with the other attorney and talking to them how to get this money back, right? But now, if they don't get the money back, they still moving forward with this deal, and the closing happens. Whatever money that they put down here, it goes towards their down payment. Okay, so they're not just giving that extra to your seller or anything. It's being held in the seller's attorney's account, in an escrow account, and it comes back at the closing to the buyer. Okay, and he uses that for the down payment, and the attorney and the loan officer will give them a full breakdown. The point of here is that if your client is willing to put down less than $10,000, tell them that's a red flag. Or if they want to put down more than $50,000, tell them that's a red flag too. Okay, I hope it makes sense. Okay, Another thing that I want to point out is the vacancy. Some of you guys are going under contract, and then we have a file cleared to close. Now we know more weeks, right? 21 days is our average. That's what we're trying to do. But once we have a file that's ready to close, and now you as a realtor say, hey, no, there's still one tenant that's living on the second floor and is going to be moving out end of this month, right? But he doesn't do that. And then another month is wasted, right? You guys have to verify that information. If the property will be delivered vacant, there are no ifs or buts, because that now the loan officer has to put that file on hold. And if the interest rate is expiring, they have to either extend it, and it's going to cost your client something for that. So you as a realtor should be on top of this and make sure that it's written in the contract that the property will be delivered vacant. And while you're under contract, communicate with the listing agent for the status for the vacancy. You don't waste on last minute. We get file cleared to close, and you guys cannot close. That's the last thing we want. We have a couple of files on that note. That's why I wanted to make sure you guys are on top of that. Okay. Any questions so far, guys? Anything in your mind? Okay. Some of our new agents here, right? You guys should know the lot size and the build size difference, right? The lot sizes is where the property is located, right? This is the whole wherever you can have a rectangular or lot size of 40 by 100. That's our normal. There are 20 by 100s where we see small lots, lot sizes in Queens here, plenty of them, Brooklyn here too, and the value is a lot. But when we are in Long Island, 20 by 100 does not even exist to my knowledge. 30 by 100 is considered very small. Even 40 by 100 in Long Island is considered very small. You want to see 50, 60 in Long Island. If you see 60 by 100 in Queens, you'll be all over it. And it's very hard to find 50 or 60s in Long Island, in Queens here. Okay, so just know that the lot sizes, whatever dimensions you have, is 40 by 100. If you'll get the square feet. So 40 by 100 will give you 4,000 square feet. So that's your lot size. What we are concerned about now is going to be the built size. So if you're looking for a single family property that has 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, well, a kitchen and a basement, typically you're looking for around, on the lower end, 1,100 square feet to 1,400 square feet, and that's what we consider normal. Okay, if you see any size that's built bigger than this, that means it's built bigger. The taxes will be more on that property. Okay, any property that you see, even if the lot size, let's say, is 40 by 100 or 50 by 100, but if the built is less than 1,000, you have to think about in your mind right away, it's going to be a tiny house. Okay, tax is going to be low. It's going to be, maybe if it's 1,000 square feet, probably have 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, and stuff like that. Right? Just know the differences. The experienced agents, I know you guys have no issues. You guys can visualize that right away. But for new agents, just know the difference, lot size and the build size. Okay. If it's a two family, you just multiply this. Let's say in Queens here, if we see 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms on the first floor, and you see the same things on the second, the first floor might be around 1,300 square feet, which is average for Queens. And then you add another 13 for the top. Okay. Any questions on the lot or the build size? Okay. Next is power of your phone, guys. Right? You guys are using this phone, probably like me, you guys are spending like half an hour to 45 minutes, probably an hour, on like TikTok, on Instagram, and all the other things. What you guys have to start managing is your phone calls and text messages. You are a realtor. People are expecting you to, pick up your calls when they call you, and you want to call them back when you miss the call, right? Don't judge and say, hey, I missed a call 8 hours ago. Should I call them back or not? Always just call them back. The last, like, you don't want to be the person that's saying, hey, let me follow up on the next day or the following day. Just do it as soon as possible in normal working hours. You don't want to get in touch with them or call them back after hours. Do it in your business. You pick. but just make a habit of checking your phone calls and calling and texting back, right? You're texting them, right? Have your business card. You have the digital copy. Always start off with your business card. Throw in your business card and then mention whatever you want to mention, right? But please use your phone. Make sure that you're staying in touch with your clients through calls and text messages. Not everyone will pick up your call. That's why text messages work well. Okay. So last week's meetings, we ran out of time for our down payment assistance program. So we want to talk about that, right? So for one of our wholesalers, one of the companies that we work with, offers this feature, right? It's a program where we will allow, or they will allow, up to 2% grant of the purchase price. So when we say grant, meaning that your client does not have to pay that money back, right? And at 2% on $500,000 property, that's $10,000. That's a huge amount, right? A lender is just giving out $10,000 for a single family. We have not seen any other lender do that, right? So we want to go over that program with you guys. So if you have a borrower that's going to be purchasing a property with you and is going for a FHA loan, right? If they're going with the FHA loan and they're going to be going for a 30-year fix, and there's going to be a purchase, and they can put down at least 3.5% down, their DTI, which is their debt to income ratio, as long as it's less than 49%, they can qualify. Okay. And this will work for 1 and 2 unit primary residence. And for eligibility, right, it's just got to be one of these criteria here, right? The biggest one that will qualify your borrower is if they are a first time home buyer. That's it. They just got to be a first time home buyer and they will qualify for this, right? Some of you guys think that it might be too easy. Let's send out all the files. But we compared not just this down payment program, assistance program, but we compare everything, the total cost, their down payment, their closing cost, everything with different lenders, the interest rates, and all that, and see which one is going to be benefiting them. We will give them this option that, hey, with this lender, you'll get 2%, but these are the terms, and you will qualify as long as you're a first time home buyer. Okay. If you are a current or retired employment with a member for the government, you could be a police officer, a firefighter, a school teacher, and you'll still qualify for that. Or if you make, let's say your area medium income is $130,000, which is for our area here. If you make less than that, you'll qualify as well. But what we mainly focus on is the first one. If you're a first time home buyer, you'll definitely qualify. Okay. And the process for this is that your borrower just has to, everything else is normal, what they're doing right now, but they just have to take one course. It could be online or offline, and just going over the home buying process, the responsibility that they have, will be able to take on after they purchase the property. So they just got to complete that course. Once they do that, they will qualify for this program, right? And the loan officers will give you guys all the options, including this one, right? Next is for our mortgages, right? Like just like how we mentioned that we have all these programs available. We have our team members here now. So some of you guys are trying to reach out to me or Jazz. We want you guys to know that we have a team, right? There's 9 of us now for our mortgage side. We have about 3 other loan officers in the pipeline that's going to be coming on board in the next 30 to 60 days. So we'll have them there too. So we're a growing team. So we have no issues that you guys are working with another loan officer, not just me or Josh, right? You guys can feel free. Whatever file that they're working on, just know that Josh will be on the top of it, making sure that the file is in compliance and all that, and giving you all the options. So it's just not like if a loan officer reaches out to you that they're trying to get your business. Yes, in a sense, but at the same time, we are as a team, we all win when they're working with you guys. And you guys can pick out who you guys feel comfortable with too. Hey, one transaction you're comfortable with Sandeep, and you want to try James the next one, that's perfectly fine, right? Nobody's holding, there's no kickbacks, absolutely no kickbacks. So you guys can try any one of you guys. right? Just know that you guys will get good customer service, all the programs, because all these are our team members and they're working with us. Okay. We spoke about this last week. Just set your goals. So I don't want to spend too much time on it. That if you are a brand new agent, you want to close 6 deals. And you can really make it happen if you really focus on the programs that we have. If you really want to join a team, like Sheldon mentioned, that you're an associate broker, you have years of experience, Sheldon. So we are starting off with 2 or 3 members that we pretty much selected now. So once we have that on board, then we want to have the second tier coming in and creating their team. So anybody that's associate broker, we know you're well qualified. So for a team leader, right, they'll have benefits. The team member will have their benefits. So for the benefits for the member is going to be the mentorship, right? Because the leader already has the experience. The leader will be explaining all the steps of showing of hosting open houses, doing the paperwork, and basically taking you to the closing. And they're going to keep doing that until you're expert at this. They'll review your database, right? So you have 10 clients. They'll review the database at least twice a week. They'll host meetings just like how we're doing it here, but they'll pick a topic. Hey, let's just talk about this today. We're going to do that for an hour and go back and forth. They could do online, they could do offline meetings for the members, right? We're building a calendar link to use the conference room. So if you want to use the conference room for an hour, 2 hours, the leader will be doing that, and then members will come in and join them, right? So we'll have a good program for the members. For the leader, you're going to be spending a lot of time on that. You guys are the experts, so you guys, you got to get paid on that. The payment is going to be 10% of the member's commission. So let's say that a commission is $10,000. First, they have to pay the brokerage. If they are level one, it'll be 80/20. So they pay the brokerage 20%. They're left with 80. Out of that 80%, they'll give you 10% of their commission. Okay. As a leader, if you provide your leads to the members, you guys can have a different split. So you're not gonna just make 10%. You can say, hey, I'm gonna give you this lead. He's a well qualified buyer, and I want to make 60/40. You get 60%, I get 40%. Different leaders will have different terms for this scenario here. Okay. And as a team leader and you're a listing agent, you don't have to host the open houses. You can be doing other productive things where you can be getting more leads and working with more sellers. And those 2 hours of hosting open houses, you can have a member do that, and you guys can have a different split for that. Okay. Even the splits for the hosting open houses will go into two different things, where if there's another agent involved, then the listing agent will give you this much. If there's no other agent involved, then the agent will give you this much. And it will be all laid out, written, so you guys know clearly how much you're going to get paid before you guys have your members set up. Okay. And the best thing about this is that once you have a growing team, you're going to keep adding on members, and you want to make this route to a passive income, right? You're going to be making money when you are not even closing deals, and that's the goal of it. Okay. And with that, there will be some rules and regulations, leader and the members, and the member can leave one leader and go to another one, right? But they must be part of a team for at least 12 months, and they must close 4 deals before they want to create their own team. Each member will have that potential to create their own teams down the line, but we just don't want people to creating teams when they don't have experience themselves, right? And obviously the member must follow the leader's rules, and the leader can remove the member for non-performance, not showing up, or not following the rules, and the team member can leave as well. So it's a two-way street. We want to create a win-win situation where the member can benefit from the leader and the leader can benefit from the members. Okay. For this one, we have already sent out a survey, so we are in the middle of still setting it up. It might take about another week or so, and then we'll have the leaders actually join these meetings and spend maybe 5-10 minutes each and go over their terms, and then you guys can decide if you want to join their team or not. And for existing realtors that are with us, this is all optional. we'll never make that requirement. For the new agents that's joining us, we probably have that requirement if they have not closed any deals in the last 12 months. Okay. Questions, concerns, anything on your mind, guys? Any feedback for the teams? Sheldon, what do you think? You don't have to turn on your camera. I know you. Yeah, you could just unmute it. Yep. Yeah, I can hear you. Yep. Yep. Perfect. Perfect. Sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah. So you bring in, your terms too. I'll send you just a template that I have with the other leaders. And like I said, you just pick out if you want to add anything, remove anything. As a team leader, you want to have, your rules basically. Not everyone will follow that. Let's say you make too many strict rules, they're probably not going to follow it. So you want to make sure that just any rule that you're putting in, just put yourself in their shoes, right? As a member, will I be doing this? Will I follow this or not? Right? If you make it too strict, might be not the best route, but at the same time, still lay out what you want to have as rules, and we can talk about those. Right? Yep. All right. All right. Perfect. Rules. Okay. Okay. And this is for our loan officers, but I just want you guys to know that for FHA versus conventional, right? Not everybody knows this. For FHA, that there are some pros and there's some cons too. For conventional, you don't need 20%. We have mentioned that in almost every meeting. As long as your clients are qualifying, they have 10%, they'll have both options. Even if they have 5%, they'll have both options, right? Even conventional can go as low as 3% in some cases, and FHA can go as low as 3.5%, right? But just know that the FHA guys are going to be paying 1.75% upfront mortgage insurance. That can be financed, but still is coming out from the buyer's pocket, right? If the person, it says, if you plan to live in a home beyond 5 to 10 years, consider a conventional loan. So this way, you don't have to refinance that loan. If you put down less than 10% on a FHA, you could never get out of it, right? You have to refi at a certain point. So if you can qualify a conventional and your loan officer gives you both options and conventional is a better option, definitely go with that. Some people just think that his FHA is government backed loan, it might be the best term for me. It might not, right? So that's why you want to compare your loan estimates and and see which one is a better deal for you. As we are in the market now for the mortgages, and we are seeing stories from other clients of ours that's coming in, and we're looking at their statements, right? They never had the best terms because either the loan officer was selfish or whoever was involved in that transaction and did not put the client's best interest in front, right? That's exactly what we're doing here with our LJ, is that we want to put our clients' interests first, give them the best options, and make sure that even when they're purchasing a house, they have no idea about all these terms and the conditions. As a loan officer, or we are the one that we should be guiding them, right? And like I said, not everyone is the best person out there because they just want to take that transaction's money and just move on. What we are all about is just about referrals. We want to, our clients, when they're done with the deal, even if they had no clue what was the difference between FHA and a conventional, if we are giving them the best terms, they will give us referrals. We know we're doing the right thing, right? There are so many some of the loans that we saw here that they were hit with so many prepaid penalties with this and that. If there's any prepaid penalties for any amount, we have to disclose that, and we usually do, if there's anything like that. But if they're going with comparing FHA to conventional, just know as realtors, conventional might be a better option down the line. Okay, not always, but it might be. Okay, that's pretty much it from my end here. Any questions, concerns? I want to leave some room for our mortgage side. I have a couple of things there, but anything on your mind? I'm just reviewing this for you guys. Anything you guys want to talk about before we get going? Yep, sure. No, I mean, I wouldn't require them. Anybody, when they say will accept your offer on that condition that they have to run it through us, I would not require that. No. Just because, like I said, we have to think of the clients. As long you as a realtor should be calling the loan officer, right? It could be from any agency, and just asking any question that you want, right? But if you are forcing them or telling them, hey, we need you, us to do your mortgage or at least run the numbers to make sure you qualify, I don't think that's necessary, because you're already speaking with another loan officer that's licensed, and have them, ask them any question that you want. Yeah, no problem. I mean, as a listing agent too, and when you have a FHA and a conventional offer, if is identical, right? If both offers are identical with the numbers and everything, the down payment and all that, you can tell the seller, because now you're the listing agent, so your first interest comes from the seller. So you have to tell the seller, hey, everything is the same. We both of them, we have a $900,000 offer here, $900,000 offer here, but one of them is FHA, one is them is conventional, right? Because there's no difference, then maybe conventional it might be better. Why is that? When it comes to FHA, now when the inspection time comes, their FHA probably come in, the inspector might come in and say, hey, we need this fixed, that fixed. On the conventional side, they probably, not always, probably they can get a appraisal waived. If the appraisal is waived, then they will definitely go ahead and, get that cleared to close even quicker, right? So there are some benefits to the FHA, to the conventional, but only consider that if the offers are identical. If your FHA offers even $5,000 higher, $10,000 higher, go with that. Don't say, hey, we're going to go with the other, conventional, even if it's $10,000 lower, but we want to go with the conventional. I would not recommend that. As long as you speak with the loan officer and you're satisfied with their, after that conversation, and the loan officer will usually tell them, hey, they're doing a good job, or whatever, their credit score is good, the employment is good, and ask them how long you think it will take you to clear to close. Um, any questions that you have, speak to that loan officer, but just don't force them to come to us just to verify anything, right? No problem. All right, guys. Like I said, coming back to this article, man, a lot of people are relying on the real estate, so on their agents for financing. So be educated. There's a lot of free sources online, on YouTube, on Googling, just like different terms for the mortgage side, learning about the processes. Even if you have not closed any deal yet, guys, right? Just be in the market. If you have any questions, you contact me. Hey, I have no idea about this process. We're creating these teams. It does not mean that I'm going away in any way or form. You guys can speak to your team later. Great. If they can't answer it, you guys can still work the way we're working right now. You guys can send me messages in Teams and WhatsApp, any way you guys feel comfortable with. So just be educated enough to answer those questions to your clients. You guys are professional. I know you guys can close a lot of deals, and in order to do that, you got to be confident. And the confidence comes just being knowledgeable, right? Once you start closing deals, you can be comfortable talking to the sellers. Hey, I'm in this market. I know, you have this house. I know that, there's 10 other houses that were sold in this market, and this price is going to be the one that's going to sell it. When you're that confident and talking to them, they'll give you the listing, right? When it comes to commission now, you guys are competing with a lot of other agents out there, right? Don't lose a listing just because of a commission. You don't want to lowball. You don't want to just go. If the market rate is around 4%, you don't want to say, hey, 1% is okay. No, but if you got to negotiate a little bit, that's perfectly fine. Just get that listing, and we know that your goal should be a listing agent down the line. Okay. All right, guys. So we'll leave it at that. Any other questions concerning anything in your mind? All right, guys. There's, there's no questions. We'll get going, and I'll see you guys next week, Wednesday at 11 o'clock. All right. Take care, guys.